Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're discussing the intersection of psychology and quantum mechanics and how these fields combine to support a quantum consciousness model operating within a 4D hypersphere. This episode explores how cognition, perception, and human evolution can be reframed through principles like superposition, entanglement, and the observer effect. We'll also look at how Jungian archetypes and the process of individuation connect with quantum theories of mind, offering a multidimensional view of consciousness and personal development. The integration of psychology and quantum mechanics presents an opportunity to develop a new philosophical and scientific paradigm that aligns with quantum consciousness model within a 4D hypersphere. Understanding the human experience requires an interdisciplinary approach as internal perceptions merge with external influences to shape our understanding of the world. Traditional cognitive models rooted in classical physics often assume a deterministic and mechanistic view of the mind. These models struggle to explain complex cognitive phenomena such as contextuality, emergence, and the subjective nature of consciousness. However, quantum mechanics suggests a reality where consciousness, cognition, and perception operate within a non-deterministic, interconnected structure. Recent efforts to model cognition using quantum mechanical principles have demonstrated promising results, paving the way for a more comprehensive understanding of the human mind. This perspective supports the idea that human cognition evolves through quantum interactions, leading to higher dimensional awareness and integration. Shortstop and Beauregard propose that contemporary physics allows the data from the rapidly emerging field of self-directed neuroplasticity to be described and understood in a way that is more compatible with the actual findings. So the quantum paradigm acknowledges the role of observation in shaping reality, suggesting that our consciousness actively participates in the unfolding of events. Quantum cognition, when understood through the lens of a 4D hypersphere, suggests that the mind functions within a dynamic interplay between classical rational thought and a deeper quantum structured consciousness. This model explores the structure of human awareness and the progression of cognitive development through a quantum lens. Alerts and colleagues note that quantum structures in cognition can be used to model the contextual and dynamic aspects of human thought. So the mind, therefore, is not merely a passive receiver of information, but an active participant in the creation of reality. This is something that we touched on in the episode of the quantum mechanics of sound. Quantum mechanics introduces several principles that align with an evolutionary understanding of consciousness within a 4D hypersphere. The first is superposition and multidimensional thought. Classical cognitive science posits a fixed decision-making structure. However, quantum cognition suggests that thoughts and perceptions exist in a superposition of possibilities until an observation collapses them into a specific state. Pathos and Bosmeyer explain that quantum probability theory offers a set of principles for inference, which align well with intuition about psychological processes in certain cases. Second is quantum entanglement and the interconnected mind. The principle of quantum entanglement, where particles remain interconnected regardless of distance, parallels the interconnectedness of consciousness across individuals and time, supporting the idea that cognitive evolution is non-local, integrating insights from past, present, and potential future states of awareness. Blunther, Beam, and Graben discuss how quantum mechanics and inference and the brain can be linked to these cognitive processes. And third is the observer effect and conscious reality construction. In quantum mechanics, observation collapses probability into reality. In cognitive evolution, conscious awareness actively shapes perception and experience. Schwartz states that the brain area generally activated in all the studies done so far on the self-directed regulation of emotional response is the prefrontal cortex, framing the idea that human evolution involves actively engaging with the quantum field to direct personal and collective transformation, operating within a 4D system where consciousness influences probabilistic states of reality. Quantum cognition introduces a model where human thought operates through multiple simultaneous possibilities, allowing individuals to navigate cognitive landscape shaped by probability, context, and dynamic mental states. The brain operates as a quantum processor, dynamically shifting between classical determinism and quantum fluidity, facilitating a heightened state of awareness within this hyperspherical structure. Research suggests that microtubules in the brain may function as quantum processors, interacting with the electromagnetic field to regulate cognitive evolution. Extending this hypothesis, it's posited that the orchestrated objective reduction theory OR suggests that quantum computations within microtubules could give rise to consciousness, and that paper is from Mitaku in 2000, suggesting that consciousness is not solely a product of neurobiological activity, but is an emergent quantum process that integrates with higher dimensional realities. Conscious effort alters the structure of the mind, giving us the capacity for directed thought and greater neuroplasticity. This intentional cultivation of cognitive pathways expands the capacity for human thought and consciousness to evolve, enabling the integration of novel quantum states and facilitating the exploration of expanded realms of awareness. Beauregard and colleagues have demonstrated systemic changes in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and parahippocampal gyrus after cognitive behavioral therapy. And I apologize if I butchered the pronunciations there, but I tried. In Latin. By intentionally engaging in quantum cognitive processes, individuals can expand their perception, access higher order knowledge, and refine their understanding of self and reality within a 4D universe. Quantum-based relaxation techniques, such as meditative states that align brainwave frequencies with quantum coherence, provide a direct method for tuning consciousness to higher dimensional realities. A study by Merlin Ngirwati and Ropatano found that the quantum psychological relaxation technique had an effect on the self-acceptance of breast cancer patients. And so research suggests that such techniques enhance self-awareness, accelerate cognitive evolution, and integrate subconscious insights into conscious awareness. Carl Jung's theory of archetypes presents an architecture for understanding universal symbols and patterns that reoccur across humanity, deeply embedded in what he called the collective unconscious. Jung argued that these archetypes are primordial images or universal patterns of psychic functioning, which consistently manifests in dreams, myths, art, and cultural narratives. He viewed archetypes as structural elements of the psyche, existing independently of personal experience and instead representing a shared human inheritance. Archetypes function as attractors within the psyche, shaping both individual and collective behaviors. They influence how humans interpret and respond to the world, acting as templates for experience and meaning-making. Jung noted the archetypes are a part of human inheritance, extraordinarily stable and enduring structures that form the fundamental organization of the psyche, emphasizing their persistence across generations and cultures. Quantum consciousness defines these archetypes as non-local structures whose influence permeates individual and collective minds alike, functioning within a broader quantum field of awareness that supports an interconnected patterns of meaning and experience. Quantum non-locality refers to the property where entangled particles remain correlated over vast distances of independent spatial separation. Similarly, archetypes manifest in parallel across different individuals and societies, suggesting a network of shared meaning and psychological resonance. The analogy with quantum entanglement is frequently referenced in interdisciplinary studies linking depth psychology and quantum theory. And for that, see Zohar and Marshall. I've got that paper in the bio. The foundation of reality is a quantum consciousness field, as proposed by physicists such as David Bohm and theorists like Federico Fagan. This may provide a medium through which archetypal structures emerge and operate. The quantum field serves as a substrate for interconnectedness, allowing patterns of information, such as archetypes, to influence cognition, perception, and behavior in a manner that transcends individual local experience. Jung's work anticipated this model, describing the collective unconsciousness as a timeless, spaceless realm where archetypes reside and from which they emerge into conscious awareness. Mary Louise von Franz, a prominent Jungian analyst and close collaborator of Jung, expanded on the idea of individuation, the process through which a person integrates the conscious and unconscious aspects of their psyche to realize their unique self. Von Franz described the individuation as an impersonal process in which the ego is relativized to the self. The archetype of wholeness is at the core of the psyche. This journey involves confronting and assimilating archetypal contents, facilitating personal growth and psychological integration. Individuation can be likened, again, to a quantum process. In quantum mechanics, the concept of the wave function describes all possible states of a system. When an observation is made, the wave function collapses into a single realized state. In individuation, the multitude of possible selves or psychic potentials collapse into a coherent, actualized identity. This metaphor highlights the dynamic interaction between possibility and realization, paralleling quantum state reduction within the psychological development. Franz's writings underscore that this process is guided by interactions with unconscious archetypal patterns, much as quantum systems are shaped by their environment and context. So through their work, we can see how this quantum substrate would help facilitate archetypes throughout history. Jung's theory of synchronicity addresses the occurrence of meaningful coincidences that are acausal, yet connected by symbolic or psychological significance. He defined synchronicity as a special case of general acausal orderedness, describing events that are meaningfully related but lack a direct cause and effect relationship. Synchronicity suggests that consciousness interacts with an underlying field that organizes events according to patterns of meaning rather than causality. In quantum mechanics, interference describes how overlapping wave functions create patterns of constructive and destructive probability. This phenomenon reveals the fundamentally interconnected probabilistic nature of reality. Synchronicity, from a Jungian quantum perspective, may arise as emergent property of the conscious mind engaging with the quantum field. Patterns of symbolic significance appear at the intersection of internal psychic states and external events, reflecting quantum-like interference patterns of meaning. This view is supported by contemporary research exploring the intersection of consciousness, quantum phenomena, and non-locality. See Schwartz and Antpaster in the channel bio. Sorry, I probably super mispronounced that again. The fusion of quantum mechanics, psychology, and consciousness studies present a transformative system for understanding cognitive evolution. By integrating quantum cognition with the universal structure of a 4D hypersphere, the model reveals a path toward multidimensional awareness, self-directed evolution, and the conscious shaping of reality. Additionally, the incorporation of Jungian theories and Mary Franz's contributions further contextualizes the role of the unconscious and individuation within the quantum consciousness paradigm, redefining human cognition and providing understanding of the next stage of human evolution as an integration of quantum and classical realities. So that wraps it up for today. As always, sources are in the channel bio, and a special thanks to my audience for mentioning Mary von Franz, who helped make this episode extra special. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell like the winners that you are, and I will see you next time.